Hello and welcome to Public Conscience, the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOC. I am Chidozie Obumnaya and I'm with Esther Bassett.
Thanks for joining us.
On Public Conscience, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society by drawing government and citizens' attention to corruption reports and issues for prompt democratic actions against them. We also promote integrity by amplifying rare cases of the display of honesty by public and private individuals. We appreciate the MacArthur Foundation for supporting the production of this program.
One of the ways to measure a great nation is the way and manner it takes care of the poor and needy, as well as people with disabilities. Our focus on today's program is on the difficulties persons with disabilities are subjected to at airports across the nation, as most of the facilities are not built with consideration for their plight and welfare.
According to a recent investigative report by the Cable, in some airports, officials are not employed to assist people with disabilities. They also face other challenges like non-functional elevators, unavailability of wheelchairs, and sign language gadgets. All these made air travel for them a horrible experience, regardless of existing inclusivity laws.
After almost a decade of relentless advocacy, Nigeria in 2019 signed into law the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act. The law sought to protect their rights by curbing discrimination and promoting inclusion. Also required public buildings to make necessary adjustments for those with disabilities. While some institutions have made necessary efforts to abide by the law, a lot more is still lacking, as people with disabilities still face discrimination when accessing public spaces across Nigeria.
According to the World Health Organization, WHO, 1.3 billion people are with disabilities. Africa accounts for 80 million persons with disability, while 27 million of them in Africa are in Nigeria. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, that is FAAN, is the organization statutorily charged to manage all commercial airports in Nigeria. Excuse me, and providing service to both passenger and cargo airlines. Today's program will advocate for disability-friendly airports across Nigeria and strict adherence to disability laws by public and private entities. For you out there, how friendly are Nigerian airports towards persons with disability? How accessible are the facilities for the use of persons with disability? And how much are public and private establishments complying with provisions of the disability law? How can the inclusion of persons with disabilities be advanced in our country? And why is the government and society at large still struggling with inclusion of persons with disability?
Be ready to join us through phone and text messages during this conversation. The WhatsApp phone line to send your message is 0902-265-6167. That is 0902-265-6167. Please indicate your name and your location when sending your message. This number is for messages only.
Please begin to send your messages as soon as possible to 09022656167. That is 09022656167. We will give out the phone numbers to call shortly.
If you just joined us, the spotlight is on the difficulties persons with disabilities are subjected to at the airport across Nigeria, as facilities do not support their plight and welfare despite existing laws.
And joining us in the studio is investigative journalist with the Cable, Samuel Apman. Samuel, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I have a team from the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, joining me on the program, starting with the head of department, Public Affairs, Alex Okusun. Thank you so much for joining us. We also have Zuwaira Yahaya Joe, Deputy Manager in charge of Customer Care, FAN. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, not forgetting Airport Operations, Miyashima Geoffrey Ovihi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And as we go on, we will have the Executive Director of Citizens with Disabilities of the Center for Citizens with Disabilities, David Aniele, join us via the phone. But let's start off this conversation with Samuel Apman, whose organization went to the streets, to the airports to carry out the investigation. Give us a quick background of your report and why your organization took interest in this, especially what are the things you find that are not good for the persons with disabilities at our airports.
Okay, so a background to the story, I would say is, imagine someone with disability going to the airport. The person wants to fly, and then say you have your disability is hearing impairment, and then at the airport you've already notified them that you have disability, and then when you get to the airport, instead of the facility for persons having hearing impairment being provided, you are given a wheelchair. So when you see somebody is a person with disability, the first thing the person might assume is, the person is either blind or the person uses the wheelchair. But that is not just what a disability involves. There are other disabilities. And so from the report we got and from persons we spoke to, a lot of persons, recount, they told us of the nightmare, as they called it, an encounter when they used the airport. That motivated us, to visit some of the airports in the country, the Abuja airport, the Lagos airport, and the Enugu airport, to see for ourselves the facilities and to see if they are really accessible to persons with disability, having in mind the Disability Act that was signed by former President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019.
Okay, go ahead.
How many airports did you cover?
3 airports.
3 airports. And
Abuja airport, Lagos airport, and Enugu airport.
Were the challenges you found similar in other airports?
That they were similar. So, for instance, in Enugu airport, which I visited, 3 reporters worked on the story. One in Lagos, one in Abuja, and then I was in Enugu. So, for instance, like you said, the Abuja airport, there is an elevator in Abuja airport, for instance, and the staircase, of course, and also an escalator. But from what a reporter at Abuja airport found was that the elevator is not working. And then imagine somebody that has a mobility issue, right? Try to imagine how a person will be able to use an escalator or say the wheelchair. But the elevator is not working, And apart from that, we also saw that the facilities are not really accessible to persons with disability. For instance, I was in Enugu. We don't have, for instance, somebody who is blind, right? The screens, there were over 5 screens at the Enugu airport. At the time I visited the airport, just one was functional. And it might surprise you to know that what was even displaying on the screen at the time I visited was nothing related to helping passengers with disability to be able to get flight updates. You expect that you see TVs, screens at the airport. They're supposed to display flight update, and so that person with disability, for instance somebody who has a hearing impairment, can see right up on the screen. But that wasn't working. The TV might be functional, right? But the only one that was displaying at the time was only showing things like cosmetic, hair, and the rest. That is the situation I found at the Enugu airport.
For the airport you visited, was there a communication with the managers of the airport, which is now FAN, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria? Okay,
so after we carried out our investigation, we spoke to the authorities. That's FAN. And then, it was a situation of, let's say, blame game. FAN was kind of pushing the responsibility to the airlines. And the airlines were also trying to push the responsibility to to FAN, and for FAN they said somebody with a person with disability coming to the airport, for instance, say your disability is mobility issue and you need a wheelchair. FAN was like, it is a responsibility to attend to you from the entrance to the airport, and then by the time you enter into where you have to book and the rest, it is the airline that should take over, right?
Okay. Let me not bore you so much with the explanation. The good thing, we have the team from FAN here. We have the head of Department Public Affairs, Alex Okoson, for FAN. He's here. Maybe we'll start from having your reactions to the investigations. I don't know who will go first. We also have Zuwaira Yahaya Joe. She is the Deputy General Manager in charge of Customer Care, FAN, and also Niashima Geoffrey Ovihi, Airport Operation. David Aniele is the Executive Director for Center for Citizens with Disability. Thank you for joining us. All right. Kindly weigh into this issue, because we want you to give us a sense of the challenges persons with disabilities face at Nigerian airports.
It's okay. I'm the founding executive director of Center for Citizens with Disabilities. I'm currently the special assistant to Assistant Governor, His Excellency Dr. Alex Chomakoti, on persons with disabilities. I'm glad that you are weighing in the issues that has to do with access to airport for people with disabilities. Prior to our intervention 2 years ago, in which we observed that access to airport, to people with disabilities is slim, and as such we decided to intervene. One of the key instruments that we use for that intervention is looking at the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act, which provided that public infrastructures must be made accessible to all, including airport. In fact, there are specific responsibility made, for airport operators around people with disabilities, as enshrined in that law. Issue of attitude of airline operators, attitude of airport managers towards people with disabilities was not encouraging. Issue of access to aircraft was also there. Issue of access to environment is also the key issue. When people with disabilities want to use the airport, they struggle much more than people without disability. During this period, we've tried to engage stakeholders in 6 states. These states include Gombe, Plateau, Enugu, Lagos, Kano, as well as Akwa Ibom State and Abuja FCT. And we are bringing to them the gospel of accessible airport for all. We've sensitized many. Most of the airports have changed their way of operations in terms of booking of flights. Thereby, they make provisions to identify who is a person with disability and be able to track them and support them while they are coming to the airport. The airport operators within this area have identified and agree with us that there's a challenge. This challenge needs to be factored in their budget in order for them to be able to effect the necessary repairs. So, on our part, what we discovered that there is interest, but at the level of the aviation ministry, they are yet to take the necessary attitude towards this, effecting these changes.
Okay, David, you've said a lot and you've explained a lot, and you said that FAN, there's improvement in their operations, but there's something left. What in specific terms would you say is left undone in terms of accessibility of facilities for persons with disability at our airport?
So, key among them is information dissemination. If you get to the airport, the announcement, the billboard are yet to be changed in order to reflect access to all. Take for instance, if you are deaf and they're making that announcement, you won't hear what they're saying. So if there is in all our airport electronic announcement using text, whereby you can look up and see the text. Flight A is moving by so and so, flight B is moving like so and so. The one that is moving or about to be that is boarding, it will be blinking that this particular flight is boarding. So if you're a deaf person, if you look at the billboard, the electronic billboard, you will see it and say, oh, this is my flight. It's about to board. Let me go to the boarding corner and join.
Okay.
So this one is key. Then also is the issue of access to aircraft itself. The access to aircraft remains a nightmare to physically challenged person. There's no mobile lift which is available in other countries where if you want to board, if you're a person on wheelchair or crutches, they will use the mobile elevator. They position it beside the aircraft door. They will lift it up. You enter. You won't struggle. Nobody need to carry you like a bag of beans.
Okay.
So this is the key challenge we are having.
Okay, David. The good thing here is that I have a team from FAN, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, and here I would like you to hang on, stay on the line while I have them react. And I know they might be doing quite a lot, as you said, but let's hear from the horse's mouth. Back in the studio, let me remind you that I still have the team from FAN, Head of Department Public Affairs, Alex Okosun. I don't know who will go first. I have Zuaira Yahayajo, Deputy General Manager in charge of Customer Care FAN and Airport Operation, Federal Airport Operations, Nyashima Geoffrey Ovihi. So who goes first?
We are grateful to be here to represent our organization. And from what we just heard from the gentleman from the cable, well, what I'm going to say on behalf of our organization is that everything is a work in progress. We listen to complaints and we try to do our best to improve our facilities. Persons with special needs, we have a lot of them. They do come to the airport and engage our managements, and we listen to their complaints and we try to do our best, and we always try to improve our facilities. First of all, I want to correct an impression.
Okay.
FAN controls only 24 airports
Out of
about 30. So, number two, he made a mention of the engage with FAN. Where he did is an investigative report. I don't know in which airport is that, so that we can know what he was told. Because we always try to make sure we do our best. Most of the facilities that are supposed to be provided are there. And if they have visited us here in Abuja, we will take you around some of the areas. The issue is that the challenge is that some of our citizens who help this person with disabilities, maybe the signage are not conspicuous enough to read.
So you are saying the signage currently?
We have signages.
Are they working?
They are working. They are not with light. These are signages mounted on the walls and all the areas where they are supposed to go through.
Okay, because the same issue raised by the investigator was also raised by the executive director, the Center for Citizens with Disability, David Aniele, on access to aircraft and information. So let's stay with information first. That is about the signage.
Yeah.
And you corroborated that the signage may not be visible or big enough. So what are you going to do? What is FAN going to do about it?
Let me finish. When we have complaints, we improve facilities. We are just hearing this one that most of them are not seeing our signages. They are not bold enough to read. They are not conspicuous enough. So I do promise that when we go back, we'll look at those areas and improve on them.
Okay. If you're just listening to us or just joining us, you're hearing the voice of Head of Department, Public Affairs, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria.
No, Abuja Airport.
Abuja Airport,
Yeah.
yes. Alex Okosun. So,
Let's
ma'am,
have
you want
Samara.
to comment?
Thank
All
you
right.
very much. In addition to what he has said, I just want to refer to what our friend here has said. We have a grievous redress mechanism, and from what he has said, it's normally handled by the customer service department. Now, there is no way if we receive complaints, we will not act on it. And I remember I was at a workshop in Kano organized by this association, people living with reduced mobility, and I listened to their complaints, and I asked one question: was any complaint made to the customer service department? And he said no. So, and I assure you, most of these facilities we have, we're improving on them. We're not there, but we're getting there. And to be very candid, these people, we call them top priority passengers, and they are very much at our hearts. And honestly, if we knew some of these complaints, customer service department, we have a redress mechanism, and there's no way if these complaints had come to us, we'll take it lightly.
So, as against what the investigation is saying, you are saying that FAN has a special treatment for the persons with disabilities.
Yes, what I'm trying to say is, we have, if you don't come to complain to us, we may not know. Some of we work hand in hand with the airlines. When they have their issues, particularly concerning passengers, we always step in.
Are there signages to show that, so that people can know that we can quickly run to FAN and complain?
Okay, when at the airport, I think we have 17 of the 24 airports. We have customer service. Now those are our complaints desk. Then we have lounges for our top priority passengers. That is people living with reduced mobility. When they go there, in fact, we when we see them coming, we approach them. This is especially when they want to pick their baggage. We don't expect them to stand by the conveyor belt. So they come, sit down, and then the airline that is assisting them goes to collect their baggage. They are sitting at the lounges. So we have, they are a priority for us.
All right, let's
now,
come to
some of our facilities, probably because of power fluctuation, you may come at that time when there's a sudden switch to power. Definitely, some of these facilities might stop. It will not it will take a few minutes for it to pick up again. And we are always, working to ensure that these facilities are working.
all right. It's good to know. But let's come to Geoffrey.
Yes. My respected colleagues and the people in the studio, I want to add to what my colleagues, the two colleagues, have said. We have signages at the airport. You can see one of them here.
Yeah, he's made that fact that there are signages, but
Yes, there
just
are
like
signages, and
maybe it's
we
not
have-
bold enough. Or
Most of the signages are bold, except that maybe some of people don't read signages. They are bold. We have parking lots for reduced mobility passengers at the
okay,
international and domestic terminals. We have about 7 marked for them, and we've instructed the people working there that this should be exclusively reserved for people with reduced mobility.
okay, let's
We have toilets for them. We have wheelchairs. FAN has procured wheelchairs for these people. We have lounges for them. So we have signages. We have all it takes to handle them. FAN
okay.
is
Let
actually-
me hold you there, Geoffrey. Let me get to
David Anyale.
Anyale from CDD. Are you there, David?
Yes, I'm with you.
You've listened to what people from the team from FAN, what they have to say and what they've said as regards to your submission.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to it? Because with what they said, there are signages made available, and maybe PWDs, they don't read it. What do you have to say about it?
would like to respond to the first speaker who said that they are in charge of information, that they're not getting this information, that if they get information, they work on it, they are hearing it. What he's saying, if that what I heard is correct, what he's saying, I can say that he may not appreciate the effort that has been made to address this issue. The MD of FAN is aware of all this problem. When we conducted our study, we paid a visit to FAN MD here in Abuja. He received our team. He listened to the issue. The document of findings from our study, which catalog some of these issues we are sharing here, was presented to him. He promised that he's going to look into it and that he's going to work on it. So when these teams are saying if we have such problem, we are not, we've passed that level. We've passed that level. The former minister of aviation, Sidika, I had a meeting with him. And I presented these issues point blank, black and white to him. So if I'm talking at that level, I don't know which other information you will ask that I will share. Now, let me tell the team now, what will be the solution to this issue? The solution is you need to conduct accessibility audit to people with disabilities in that airport. We've done our part by sharing to you that is a problem. Take time to conduct accessibility audit in terms of people with disabilities access to airports. The Abuja airport, I heard one of the speakers saying that there is a signage. Signage for what? I use that airport regularly. In fact, in a month, the minimum I fly that airport is 3 times. So, if you get to the airport, when is the lift? The what do you call the electronic step that is in the what do you call that place? That is in around the airpiece wing of the airport. All one side do work at times. The other side will not work. There was a time working went bad. For you to climb up, you have to use the staircase. And anybody that used that staircase know how tough it is.
Okay.
Aside, when you talk about signages for vehicles, for parking, we can't tell anybody that is a regular user of that airport where it is. Nobody knows it. Everybody enters there at their own discretion.
Okay.
It's supposed to be so. So if you say there is a signage for people with disability, if it is not bold for everyone to see, there is no signage. You can't make signage for yourself. You make signage for the public to use. And what is the study? Not only in Abuja is even a neat airport. If you go to other airports like Enugu, like the one in Gombe, like the one in Plateau, Jacob Mohammed. In fact, one of the meetings we had, one of the airport operators told us that most of our airports are not satisfied airports. That's what the guy told us. So all these things we are clamoring for, but we may not get it because of the standard of the airports. And when that guy runs us down how the system works, we really understood where our problem is coming from. So this public relation approach of saying, oh, we are doing our best, if anybody comes, tell us. I don't think we are telling ourselves the truth. The reason is simple. You that is sitting there, you are not immune from getting disability. You may lose your name or your hearing or your sight tomorrow. If it happens, you use the airport.
All right. Okay, David. Umos, thank you so much for joining us this time. I know that all the points you've enumerated, the team from FAN will respond to it and give us their commitment to what they are going to do going forward. But many thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right, if you just joined us, it is still Public Conscience, a production of the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development. We are talking about the welfare, the plight of persons with disability at our airports. Back in the studio, I still have my guests. I have the investigative journalist with the cable, Samuel Akpan. He's here with us, and a team from FAN comprising of the head of Department Public Affairs, Abuja Airport, Alex Okosun. We have Niashiba Geoffrey Ovihi. He's the airport operations. He's in charge of airport operations in Abuja Airport. And not forgetting Zuwaira Yahaya Joe, Deputy General Manager in charge of Customer Care FAN. Thank you for staying with us. And it's a good time for us to also get across to our listener out there to have them comment before we start taking your commitment, your solutions to the challenges which has been challenges which have been enumerated here. And remember that this program is interactive. The WhatsApp phone line to send your message is 09022656167. That is 09022656167. This number is for messages only. Please begin to send your messages now to 09022656167. And we want you to contribute to the program. How friendly are Nigerian airports towards the persons with disability? How accessible are facilities for use for persons with disability? How much are public and private establishments complying with provisions of the disability law? How can inclusion of persons with disability be improved in our climate? And why do you think government and the society at large continue to struggle with inclusion of persons with disability? Do well to join us.
Right, so I wanted to come to Mr. Geoffrey. Yes, to give us, if you can hear me, Mr. Geoffrey.
Yes,
okay, so we want to know what is FAN doing to standardize all the airports in Nigeria to conform with international requirements for PWDs.
Thank you for having me. Before I go ahead, please, I want to react to what the Executive Director, Dr. David Anyano, said earlier. I've had interactions with him. We've been on this program together. We've been in Lagos, we've been in Abuja here twice. And all the times he always gives FAN the kudos of trying to improve the plight of people with disabilities using our airports. We have a lot of signages that are conspicuous here. If you go to the airport, you must see them. We have special lounges. We have FIDs for people with hearing problems to access, where our escalators are working, except that, as the HOD Servicom said earlier, sometimes if we have light issues, these facilities will go off. But as you go to airport now, the escalators in Terminal D, the airpiece terminal that he has complained, they are currently working. The lift in the international terminal zone, they are all working.
Oh, okay.
So most of these facilities are working except few. So please, David should know that.
Okay. One other thing, sorry to cut in there, sir. One other thing David Anyele mentioned was that how do I put it now, access to aircraft that is not easy for persons with disability to get into,
this
get on board.
Is a shared. FAN has its own responsibilities, while airlines and handlers have their own responsibilities too. The issues of providing mobile staircase is that of the airlines or handlers such as SACO and NACO. Okay. But as a team, we need to work together with these people so that this will be provided. I think we need to have a meeting with the handlers so that they will know that there is a need for them to provide mobile staircases for these people with reduced mobility.
So all right, so let's have the journalists.
Okay, so I just want to quickly react to some of the issues. For instance, I when I was speaking earlier, I mentioned about the Abuja airport, that's the elevator not working. It's completely packed, right? It's not that it is. In fact, when there is a power change, maybe you were using generator and you're changing how many minutes? It is supposed to even be minutes. The system is supposed to run in such a way that is uninterrupted. It's just a second. Because if you have such a delay, like the impression was being made, if you have such a delay, there could be a disaster that could happen, right? So to change shouldn't be an issue. It should be a process that is seamless, right? Another thing is for the signs, there is no how you would see the signage in the airport and then you say that there is none. If there are, which airport is he referring to? And for instance, the airport I visited, the Enugu airport, I barely saw, and in the few I saw, they were not conspicuous enough. If you put signage in an airport and then it is not conspicuous enough for the persons it was meant for, so what's the use?
So just to add to what my colleague has
Okay,
said.
30 seconds.
Okay, we have special passages. Some when the lifts are, especially when we have to transit to another power, we have an exit.
Mhm.
The passengers do not have to go up.
Okay.
We have a passage that they can go through, pass and go through the airside and board their aircrafts. Then concerning the signages, we'll make them more conspicuous. We have them, we'll just make them more conspicuous and make sure we improve so that people are able to know where and where to go to.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
That is the commitment we want to get from FAN, that we are not here to, it's not a banter, but it's for us to raise those
These
issues that are affecting persons with disability, and we have them solved. Having them solved is our own joy.
All right, so let's come to Head of Department Public Affairs, Alex Okosun. You earlier mentioned that your FAN is in charge of 26 airports. Not all the airports.
24.
24 airports, not all of the airports in Nigeria. So it is obvious that even with your commitment to making the challenges that were found or reported, your efforts to correcting them, there are still challenges. So what is FAN doing to make all airports accessible in ways possible, in every way possible?
Yeah, first of all, this program with installation of facilities, equipment in the farm-managed airports is a policy issue. It's a policy. It's an organizational policy issue.
Okay.
It's not just what one manager can say. It is a policy issue that when they decide, and based on complaints, which we accept because we must improve facilities, and this thing comes in. I mean, like what he has just done now. If we have gotten that a report before this one, we would have even come with more information. You understand?
Okay.
So the management is trying their best to provide these things.
Okay.
You understand? And you know one key issue about all these things is communication.
Please hold on to your good thought. I will come back to you just in a moment. Hello, your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Adiola. I'm calling you from Federal Secretariat.
Okay, Abiola, good to have you. Please make your
Thank you.
contribution in 1 minute.
Okay, so I have heard several times that the people in the studio have said there are signage in the airport for people to see. And yet, do they think that the blind can see the signage? Is there audio described signage for the blind to know what is actually going on in the airport? And also, the TV screen, which has been mentioned, the things that is displayed there, are there things that is also audible for the blind to know what is actually going on? Suppose it's the turn for your airline, for your flight to be called. Are there audio described to say flight number, whatever to whatever you are boarding now? And is there an available assistance provided by either the airline or the fan to help that blind person to board? I'm not just talking for the blind now, to help other persons with disabilities to board the aircraft.
Okay.
Those are my concerns.
Okay.
And then are the toilets in the aircraft, and are they actually accessible for people with disabilities to go in? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. I think they will bring clarity to some of these questions you raised. Let's get back to our Alex Okosun, Head of Department Public Affairs, FAN Abuja. I had to cut you short there.
I stopped where I said the key issue here is communication.
Okay.
We have designated languages, as my colleague rightly said.
You were saying that is a policy thing.
Yeah.
Getting the airports accessible is a policy thing.
Yeah.
So,
and the management is working towards that.
are there encumbrances to the work because willingly your desire is to have these airports accessible.
Yeah.
But what are the challenges? Why they are not? We are not getting it so fast.
Okay. If you go to some airports now, some airports are under renovation. There are a lot of construction work going on in so many airports because we are trying to renovate to standard as like other world-class airports. That's what we are doing, because it's a continuous thing you have to do, because every time you see modern equipments come out, which we need to implement here in Nigeria. That's number one. Then the second thing is communication is key in all these areas, because we continue to communicate with our stakeholders, the third-party services providers that are involved in all this. That's why we created designated lounges that, for example, like the last caller just said, like the blind. We expect that when the blind, the person with disability who is blind is coming, they need to have an escort, somebody who follows them. And when you come into, do you know in every airport you have an information desk?
Yeah.
You have an information. We have an information. Immediately you enter the terminal, the first thing you say right or left, you see an information desk. Do they go there to ask questions, to get information? And when you get to the lounges, there are always, all the cervical lounges, we have people, staffs that are seated there. You can engage and discuss and ask questions. They will help you. All these things helps a lot. It's not just when you walk into an airport, even if you don't see the signages, if you're able to get to that lounge, or somebody escorted to that lounge, the person sitting down there, once they talk to that officer,
Okay.
we do everything you say. Then the one from going into the aircraft, the lift, the escalator you see, it is technical in nature. Once the light trips off, it takes minimum of 5 minutes before it comes up. And when, we do have sometimes in the day 4 or 5 fluctuations of light. When the light fluctuates, that destroys most of the electrical equipment. And beside that, for the person with disability, we have designated exit doors to the air side.
Okay.
So,
yes, I get you.
When we take them, when they are boarding, we don't even allow you to use the escalator. You don't even go to the boarding gate. They finish your boarding pass, you come down, they wheel you through those exit gates to the air side. But the issue what we are still trying to address is this mobile
carrier that will lift them into the aircraft.
Yeah,
right?
that is what we are working with the airlines, so that they should renew all of them, because maybe they might be old.
Okay, but
let's quickly take.
let's
let me
okay.
quickly say
As
something.
we are running out of time,
Yeah,
but let's take your
so-
response and last take on this issue.
Okay, so a quick one. So yes, we have information decks, as you said, but the cry has been that there should be disability decks at the airport, not just information decks, because a disability decks will ensure that they are able to respond to persons with disability, right? There is disability in diversity, or diversity in disability, right? So somebody could have even psychological disability. We have that. So it is that disability decks, people there will be trained or will know that in each disability, this is how the service they are supposed to render to them, because information there is, because anybody could just be there which does not really know how to respond to persons with disability.
All right, gentlemen and lady, let's start anchoring on this. Let me bring it back to the team from FAN. Maybe I will have to get your take on this, but let's start with, you set up disability desk.
Okay, thank you very much. Already we have disability desk.
Okay, you have disability
We have
desk.
our, like I said, top priority passengers. We have their lounges there.
Okay.
And there is no way, even I can give you instances where I was in the lounge, somebody with hearing disability tapped me
Okay.
and said this is his situation. All I did was I put him at a seat near the boarding gate, alerted the airline staff, alerted my customer service staff, and said this passenger needs your help. So once you hear his announcement, please alert him so that he can go on board.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
As we begin to wrap up, let me get a sort of commitment from you. Will you, for the FAN team, will you assure our listeners and persons with disability that FAN will attend to all complaints and challenges identified here today? Let me start from Mr. Okosun, Alex Okosun, Head of Department Public Affairs, FAN Abuja.
I promise you that as this interactive section completes, when we get by, we are going to do a report.
Okay.
We are going to do a total report of the complaints and the call-ins to the management.
Okay.
And we will make sure we pursue to logical conclusion that most of these things should be implemented.
Thank you so much for that. And one last word from you, even if it is in 15 seconds, Mr. Geoffrey. Your assurances on the operations.
As Mr. Alex have said, we are representing the organization here. So when we go back, we'll table this as we have been doing. We've been giving them reports from previous meetings like this.
Okay.
So we'll still do that to them, and God helping us, there will be a more improvement.
All right, thank you very much.
Just
for
give you a
your
word of advice, please.
Okay.
Please, in case they encounter any issues, they should contact the customer service desk at any of the airports. Please, if they report, we'll be able to assist them. Thank you very much.
All right, persons with disabilities, they are our brothers, they are our sisters, and anyone can be disabled at any time. So we have to stick out our neck for them. Esther, we have to go. It's been a robust discussion here.
Of course, for you out there, please visit our website, primognews.org. That is primognews.org. For all the details of our reports and interviews, visit our website, www.primog.org, to get all the information about Primog.
And you can watch our videos on Primog TV, our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to get reminders when we have a new post. We appreciate our guests. Team from FAN represent Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Abuja. We have on this program Head of Department Public Affairs Alex Okosun. We have Zuwaira Yahaya Joe, Deputy Manager in charge of Customer Care, and also Nyashima Geoffrey Ovihi, Airport Operations. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Not forgetting investigative journalist with the cable, Samuel Apman. Many thanks for bringing this investigation to the fore.
Thank you for having me.
Public Conscience has the support of the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation on its website, macfan.org. And I forgot to mention that we also had Executive Director, Center for Citizens with Disability, David Anyele, who joined us via the phone from Abia State.
All right, so join us here again next week for another episode of Public Conscience. And remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, also known as X. And thank you very much. I am Esther Bassi.
Remember that birth registration and birth certificate are both free if your child is under 18. Help stop the corruption in birth registration, and do not pay for birth certificate. Also remember that you can give us information or hint about corrupt acts through our phone at 09022656167 or info@primog.org. I am Chidozie Obunaya. Stay safe.